Good morning, People's Brews, back at ya. Let's jump into Misty. So how did our fair Misty do? Well, not too bad. It was a down day, but after having a 9%, look at this. You got a 9% or 7%, 7.5% drawdown, then a bounce up 9 and a 2.5. So you're basically over the last 3 days, you're down 10% and up 9%. So you've got a net 1% decline in Mr. Let's nip that out. So we had a down 5%, up 7, same percentage above 5 and 7, and then down 1. So that says we were down 7%, 6.96 in the 3 days, but we were up 7.34. So we actually ended up higher than where we started. We started at 2966, and we ended at 2964, so we're barely down. And over here, they were 1483 when this began, and they're down 1457. So again, those people that say we have 100% of the downside and, limited on the upside, well, we just showed that we don't go down the same, right? So what happened? What did they do? Did they get shares brought in? Did they execute any trades? Yes, and yes, and yes. So 175,000 shares were added, right? So 10,450 is the new share count. So they bought and sold, They bought a call, sold a put at 34 contracts only on their synthetic at 1550, and they sold a naked short call out till next week, right? Wouldn't have made a lot of sense to sell a 2-day call. Look at the premium they got. So it's really 7 trading days of premium. So that's a nice premium considering that's 83 points above where they're at. Well, that still isn't a lot in crypto, but they're probably seeing what I'm seeing on the chart, that we could go down further. But again, that just says the probabilities. Don't go, Bruce, you said that it was, we were going to go down and we went up. I said probabilities favor a bounce for a few more days, and then probably a plunge lower than we've been recently into the mid 50. That 200-day moving average is like 57, 56-ish. We could go there easily, and probably a worst case scenario is 52, where there's major support. Do I know that it's going there? No, peoples. I just try and tell you what I see in the charts and what the charts tell me when I look at them. Okay, so let's jump into you should see the amount of weekly calls now. We have a ton of these things. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 different strike prices, right? I mean, it's amazing. So, they're generating a little more income, and we'll get to that page and check that out at the end. We keep reducing net loss, right? On the, and I probably need to update. That'll be interesting when I go to the payouts. I may need one more. But with the share count, and if you look, you see what happens to cash, right? When cash flows in, they sell calls, so they collect money. They sell synthetics, and they collect more money, right? So that's why you see the cash go up. Okay, let's take a look at what the synthetics that they put on. Low volume count, right? I mean, it's 34 contracts, but we're getting more because we're below, and this needs to be updated, right? 48. Whoops, no, I already had it updated. Sorry about that, peoples. So yeah, that's where we are. So, we're 93 points away. So we're not that far like some of the the YBits and the Conies being further underneath. So we're sitting there where we could reach it in a day, really. So it's 5.95%. And you know, this is getting less than a month now. We're getting to where that's 3 weeks out. So what did that generate? That generated, oh, why did I drag this over? Boy, did I screw something up there. Oh my gosh. These both need to be cleared. Something got replicated in the wrong column. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. All right. So we only, right? We sold calls or bought calls and sold a put. So we had about we didn't have about, we had 276,000, really 275 and change of a gain, right? So we continue to lower that liability. So this number needs to reflect that, and that'll carry over. So we're now down a little bit more, which will up our payout possibilities. Okay. So we see that. What does it show up here? Oh my gosh, I didn't even update this one. This is just getting a lot of calls. This is now 1540s. This will all be gone in 2 days, though, right? One way or the other. So there we have it. This is a 7.5, so it'll be small print probably. Oh, no, it did. I'll change the color, and this will have to get... okay, so the smallest one, we're only 2.96 away, right? We have some 3s, and we have some 4s, and some more, and more there, right? So we got a 1550, we got 1555s. I should just join those, actually. And then we got a 70 and a 60, and now we have a 40. So, but look where we are. We've captured 65% because we're down in this range, right? We're down in the 1457 range. And over here, we're back in the 29 range. Okay. Implied volatility is still high, guys. Although Coney's went down, it's been going down a little bit. All right, so our capture mode is we've captured 66% of the 5.6 million. We'd only have to pay 1.943 to get out. So what does that look like? Well, it looks just like that. I have all the positions listed here. Captured 73%, 71, 75, 82. Still a loser here. If you guys remember, this is a call that, that we sold, and then it went up to 80, right? It's a 1435. So we're a little bit above it still at 1457. So, but that's only $22. So technically, $22 is the amount of intrinsic premium. The time premium is the remainder, right? So if you strip $22 away, that's just $28. That's like $14 a day. That if we just stay at the same thing, this will go to 36, and then this will go to, 22, and so we could buy it back at 22 and a half. So that's how. Sometimes just talking about that helps you guys realize, what's involved in that. And then I'd have to really go back and look and see what we sold it for. But the point is, you have to give some of it back as soon as you're at 1430. Well, anything above 1435, you start giving back what you've already received, right? So I'd have to go back on the June sheet and show you. And so anytime you see a negative number, that's not good. So here we are, we've got a 51% gain. And even on this one that we sold today, we sold it at like 40.75, I think. Yep. So that just means that we ended up trading down from where we sold it. So we won a little bit on that. So what do we have? We have the 175,000 shares of 1.76. What's our fair value, right? Well, we're priced at 29.64. How does the NAV calculation, what does that give us? Well, that gives us 29.61. So we got a 3% premium to NAV. And what does it look like over here? 17 million now is our liability. So just coming down a little bit, right, increases that. But for Misty, that's nothing with 3 weeks. And we were only 9.8 yesterday and 30 the day before the big down day, right? So we bounced up considerably, and then we sold part of that back off. We were 10 over here. So, you know, typical movement in the synthetics, which are a bullish replica of owning the underlying. You buy a call, you sell a put. They're both bullish bets. All right, so we showed that. I think we can just go look. One final, I covered those. It doesn't matter too much of allocation of Treasury. By the way, though, if you look at most of these, they're keeping most of their money in the 11/15/2024 expiration, and they're not even in this one anymore, way out there, and they keep a considerable amount in the First American Title called American Government Money Market Fund. Where if some of these guys have got 5 or 6 listed, it's just a choice of the fund and whether they're seeking a higher yield. With Misty, they're making so much money on their IV, on these synthetics and the calls, that they don't need to juggle this as much, honestly, is what my gut's telling me there. So let's look at the impact on payouts. I know none of you really care. You're in this for, you know, just wanting the stock to go up. You really don't care if you get any income. Yeah, right. Okay. I mean, it makes me wonder sometimes. People just keep buying Misty. I'm looking at it going, oh my God, we're going to have our first one, right? I'm depressed. Not really, because I hedged some of it. But yeah, I have to be honest. I love the 2s and the 3s and the 4s. I didn't think 3 was going to happen, right? I figured it would be a 250. And they surprised me. Maybe they'll surprise all of us. One of my subscribers that post a lot said, Bruce, I think they're going to pay us too. I mean, I'd love it, right? I'd be the first guy to say, hey, Misty, way to go. And they might. But the numbers don't lie, right? I mean, you had almost $4 here, but they weren't doing good in their weeklies. The synthetic was earning the money, and they paid us $3, right? But that also depleted a lot of any carry forward. So we're sitting here now with 99 cents in the short call. That's where the money's coming in, and the synthetic is just barely winning, right? But that gets better and better as we go. So that will continue. And we have a shot, if they sell some more and people buy in the fund, of getting this to even again. But what's, 1.7 on 10.4? Not a lot of money, right? It gets it to $1.25 or $1.30. It's got to get really into the positive. As your share count, look at this. In 4 months, it went from 1.3 to 3.6. That's almost a tripling. Well, I know why. It paid $4.12, and no other YIELDMAX ETF has paid $3. So you guys can talk about NVIDIA being the GOAT. It's the GOAT because it kicked some serious butt. It went from paying 50 cents and 40 cents a month up into the mid and high 2s. So rock on, NVIDIA. But it's, and it's that's what happens to these funds. So, they're going to throw the baby with the bathwater. If Misty in 5 or 6 months has a few 50 cents and 80 cents, that thing sucks, right? Well, if you owned NVIDIA, it kind of sucked for a long time until it took off, and it may retrace yet to $100 on that stock. We'll see. But I also think it could be $1.60 and kind of peter out after that, or 160 in the split. Okay. So here we have $1.16. So what are they going to distribute? We got one more opportunity. We need to collect all this, right? We got a little bit. And then we need to, write them Friday, which is, one more day after today's trading day. And, what can they collect in a week? 5-6 million. What's our weeklies typically? Yeah. Misty is around 5 or 6 million. So if they do 6 million and collect that for next week, then that's 60 cents, right? That'd get us to $1.76. And if people bought in more, then they could ride a little bit. I mean, we could get close to $2, but do they pay all that out? They probably would, in fact, pay close to all that out. So if people buy this, but here's the problem. They buy into the fund, this goes up. So all of a sudden, you start having 11 million shares, right? So you need higher weekly, right? If you're only going to get 6 million and you're adding 6 million shares, that's like a wash. So I don't think they're going to get to the $2 level, but I can't tell you what they're going to pay yet. If I had to just guess right now, I'm saying $1.59. And that's based on the fact that yields 63%. And that's more than they've earned, but they may get to $1.59, and maybe I'll up that, right? So I'll do my final projection soon and let you guys know. So that's what I got for Ms. Misty. It's still, hanging in there. It's still generating money. It's bucking this downtrend to some degree. In Bitcoin, which maybe has a little further to run down before it turns. And who knows, it's so tied to the stock market, sadly, right now. It's good when the stock market is moving up, but I see them as different asset classes for sure. But you can't tell the market that right now. The market's right until it's not. Okay, guys, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Have a great day ahead, whatever it brings. Bye.